Makaveli. How did that album come about? And give me the backstory behind you being a part of it.
When Makaveli, my part did Makaveli, I wasn't there. I went to Jersey, and my grandmother passed away, and I stayed in Jersey for some time. And when I got back, the album was done, and that's why on that song that I done with him, Outlaw. What is it? Not Outlaw. Life is an outlaw, you know what I mean? That's why in that song, he's like, would you die for me? Would you kill for me? And I said, on my grandmother. I just came back from more than my grandmother. So when I got back, the album was finished, you know what I mean? And he decided to do that one song. I think he did that album in a matter of 5 or 6 days, something. He just knocked it out, you know what I mean? But I think, listening to that album at that particular time, it was a side of Pac that I never heard. You know what I mean? He was a little more deep. And I think he was going back on that in that album where he did a lot of conscious songs before he did the All Eyes on Me. That album, it seemed like he was going back to trying to put some conscious, some messages in there it was more positive to me than some of his other records, you know what I mean? At least All Eyes on Me.
Right. So we fast forward to the MTV Awards. Take me through that entire week, Tupac being in New York, and give me the backstory behind the Tupac and Nas incident.
Yeah, when we went to the MTV Awards, it was the first time Pac went back to New York after being shot and being released from prison. So he was very cautious, you know what I mean? And he went there, people was giving him a lot of love. My homies from Jersey, my brothers, my cousins, we held Pac down. Jersey, Gaddafi and the boys, we was deep. And blood, it was a lot of us strapped. I know at least 30 of my homies was there, and they brought at least 8 guns. You know what I mean? And also we had the Death Row homies, the LA homies, the Shield security guard with guns. So I remember we was at the park, and Nas and Pac see each other. They walked towards each other. Nas was deep, and this is one of the things that I respect Nas for. In fact, I just spoke with him, through text messages a couple days ago. This dude is a real individual, you know what I mean? Where he didn't let even after Pac put that song out dissing Nas never let it got to him. His pride never kicked in. He came back and talked slick about Pac because he knew Pac was going to take that out. So when him and Pac came together in that park, Nas was with his homies. He was deep. We was with our homies. We was deep. Him and Pac talked like two generals. You know what I mean? They spoke like two generals. They chopped it up. Pac and Nas pretty much was telling each other we should have never went at each other. They shook hands, and Pac was like, look, when I go back to L.A., I got a song dissing, I'm going to remove it. You know what I mean? And it was one of them things that I think eventually they would have did music together. And it's one of them things in hip-hop that is so unfortunately that people don't spread that. Even when they do spread it, they don't give it justice, or they lie or they twist it. That's something positive, you know what I mean? They would spread all day the negativities that came out of the East Coast, West Coast beef, but why you don't spread something like that? Why you don't show that two generals, you know what I mean? Because he pretty much had his army, Nas. Pac had his homies, he had his army. It could have been a bloodbath in that park. Everybody was strapped, but they spoke like men, and they shook hands, you know what I mean? They let the world know that it can be done. So that's a day that I would never forget.
Why was Tupac beefing with Nas in the first place?
Yeah, see, a lot of people don't know, like, Nas did a song, I think, with Mobb Deep, and in the song, Mobb Deep was, like, saying stuff like, Thug Life, we still living it, you know what I mean? And Nas had some words where he's like, fake thug, no love, or something like that. Pop is looking at it, he was looking at it like Nas was coming at him, you know what I mean, on these Mobb Deep songs. The same way with Jay-Z. Pac, when that's why I said when Pac came at somebody, it was because something he heard that he felt like they were subliminal messages against him. You know?
Right. So y'all in New York, Snoop get on the radio and say he cool with Biggie and Puffy. How did Tupac feel about that?
Man, it hurt Pac. You know what I mean? Pac is the type of person, if he's your friend, he's all in. He's all in. And, first of all, Snoop was dissing Biggie and him on the radio. I mean, not on the radio. He was dissing Biggie in songs when he was on Death Row. He was dissing Biggie with Pac and Puffy. And even in conversations, he was telling Pac, yeah, let's ride on these dudes, this and this and that. And then when he get to New York, he'd get on the radio and say, them my homeboys. So Pac like, how you back in L.A. dissing these dudes on songs, now you're in New York, you're saying them your homeboys. So that hurt Pac. You know what I mean? It hurt Pac. And that's why I said, man, it's like, in order for Snoop to be a positive role model to these youngsters, man, he have to come clean. He have to stop making it seem like he was the innocent one, and everybody was doing East Coast, West Coast beef, and he was the only one that had the right head on his shoulders at that particular time. No, you cannot lead, you cannot be a positive influence on these youngsters until you come clean and say, look, I made this mistake. Yeah, I was part of the East Coast, West Coast beef, but that was 20 years ago. The new Snoop, however, I'm telling you not to make those same mistakes that I've done, because unfortunately we lost Pac, we lost Biggie, but he's not doing that. You know what I mean? He's throwing Pac under the bus every interview. Yeah, so when Pac was doing that, I beat my murder case, and I was like, nah, we shouldn't do that. No, bro, you was dissing Biggie, you was dissing Puffy, you was riding with Pac on this. You know what I mean? So this is what I don't really understand. So that hurt Pac. You got to understand, man. Pac, it hurt Pac, because he's like, man, I'm here ready to diss anybody that Snoop have a beef with. So when Pac heard him get on the radio and say that, he felt like he was stabbed in the back. You know what I mean? He felt like, he was hurt. And when you hear him in these interviews, it's like, why did you fall out with Pac? And he said, oh, because I told Pac, they're my homeboys. So I told Angie Martinez, they're my homeboys, and they are my homeboys. Them some quick homeboys. You were just dissing them in L.A. Now all of a sudden your homeboys in New York. At that particular time, Biggie and Puffy wasn't even saying Snoop was their homeboys. They was dissing them. You know what I mean? So that hurt Pac.